Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be diving into more affordable nail products and then we're going to create a nail look with some of the products that you see here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to unbox everything and do like a little bit of like a first impression, kind of like a Born Pretty nail haul. And then once we unbox everything, we'll go ahead and create a nail look. I have no idea what we're going to be creating. We're just going to pull in all these products and then create a look. So make sure you stay tuned for that. So the first item that we have in here, this is a full-size gel polish. And I did notice on the box that it did say HEMA free. So the first color, this is a pure white gel polish. I always like to pick up a white one just to see how it performs. Plus, you can always utilize it for nail art if it is a good formula. So we're going to test that out here in just a little bit. And then up next, we have another full-size gel polish. This one is going to be a cat eye, and it is in a really beautiful color that I feel like it's going to complement so many different skin tones. I also like that they included a magnet. That's what just flew out of the box when I opened it. And this right here is the color Champagne. Now the bottle has a little bit of heft to it. It feels really heavy, so it doesn't feel cheap or anything like that. And I do prefer a heavy bottle, and I have high hopes for this color, so I cannot wait to dive into this one. And then up next, we have a Jelly Nonstick Hand Extension Nail Gel, and I'm going to use this for some 3D sculpting. I am going to attempt today to sculpt a flower. I have not done one yet, believe it or not. I kind of stay away from these kind of gels, so I figured, why don't we just give it a go with something affordable? So I am going to take the foil seal off. There's no really easy way to get these off. You can use like an e-file and kind of go around, but then I feel like if I use my e-file, I'm going to risk getting some of the particles into this milky white sticky gel, so I kind of want to stay away from using that, but I did get the foil off, and this is a milky white color, and I'm just playing with it right now to get a good feel on the consistency. It's sticky, but it doesn't feel too over like sticky or anything like that. So I am kind of having high hopes for this already based on the consistency of what we were just playing with. So fingers crossed it works out for me. And then up next we have a watercolor nail gel, and I'm going to use this for blooming nail art. Now you can use this to create a watercolor effect. It allows you to do different nail art. It also is for blooming. It says you can use it for marbling, for striping, for airbrush. It's going to give you like that perfect watercolor effect. I'm going to try it and utilize it and interchange it with my blooming gel. And I will try it on one of the nails today with that white so we can really see how this performs. And I'm just playing with the viscosity right now to kind of get a feel of that product. I would say it's about a medium viscosity. And then up next we have a neutral color, which is, I'm always looking for a good neutral. I feel like you can never have enough jelly neutrals. In this one, we're going to dive into here in just a moment. And then we have a top coat. You always got to try a new top coat. So I figured let's give this one a go. Some of these products were sent to me from Born Pretty, and then some of them I did pick up myself. So we could create a full nail look today. So I'm really excited to see how these perform. And then this right here, I had to grab this collection. This was just screaming fall to me. And the price point was just right. I believe it was like $9.99, which is a great value for the 6 polishes that we're getting. They're also a really beautiful, kind of like a rustic, neutral kind of color palette. And the collection is called Cozy Hearth, and they're just beautiful. Like I said, these are going to be jellies, and we have like some gorgeous, deeper tones. You can create kind of a really fun, kind of like a jelly leopard nail, or try doing a tortoiseshell nail. Options are going to be endless with this one. Plus, you got a really good base colors as well. So we're going to dive into some of those colors here in just a moment. So those are all the products from Born Pretty, and now it's time to test them out and let's see what we can create today. I don't really have a vision in mind for this set, but I know I want to try pulling in that sculpted flower. So I know for sure we're going to be doing that. But before we get to that flower, we need to do our base colors. So for the first color, we're going to pull in that really beautiful neutral pink. I just feel like it's a little bit of pink with a little bit of mauve and just like a little bit of tan pulled in. I don't know, this is a really beautiful color. So this is what it looks like with one coat. It is self-leveling. And again, this is a jelly, so you are going to have that transparency through it. But I am liking the coverage. This is what it looks like after I cured. It's self-leveled. It's not streaky or anything like that. It does look good. It does look good right here with one coat, but I want to build it up because I really just want that perfect neutral blush color coming through. And then I will give you a comparison of the 2 coats versus one so you can get a better visual. But I will say I am liking this. I did look on Amazon and I could not find this color on its own, like in a bigger bottle, because I actually would like to buy this in a full-size bigger bottle. But if you go on the Born Pretty website, they do also have way more product than on their Born Pretty Amazon store. And you can definitely find the full size over there. So I might just have to pick it up full size over on the Born Pretty website. So I am going to incorporate this on one other nail. And then this is when you can get a good visual of that one coat versus two. So you can see there's definitely a color difference here, which is fantastic because you can get two different, completely different looks depending on how many coats you are using with this. And I will say for the formula that we're using today, I was not expecting, I did not have high hopes for this jelly polish. I thought it was going to be super streaky. And the fact that we're getting this great coverage with that first color, I'm hoping that this kind of is the trend of the whole entire set. I'm hoping that we're just going to continue to go uphill from this with the quality. So now we're going into that Cozy Hearth collection. I'm going to go in with the darker color, and we're only going to do one coat of this color, and then I am going to cure it because this is going to be the base color that we're going to try some of that blooming gel on this nail to just finish this look off in a little bit. So we're going to get back to that nail here in just a moment. And now we're going to get into champagne, and look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? It is. It does look like champagne bubbles. I do really like this one. I like that it's not, it doesn't have like a harsh white flashback to it. It is actually more of like a kind of like a honey kind of champagne. So it's not like that white gold, and it's really beautiful. It's a more of a warmer champagne, if that kind of makes sense. Sometimes when you're playing with champagnes, they can have like this really harsh whiteness to it. This one is really cozy looking, and I'm just going in with the magnet. And right now I'm just kind of playing with the magnetic particles and just getting a good feel on this cat eye. Also, if you ever are struggling with cat eyes and you are using a nail stand that has a magnet under it, try using a nail stand that does not have a magnet on it. It's going to make all the difference in the world when it comes to your cat eyes. So now I'm just kind of creating a little bit of a French tip design with just the magnetic particles on the tip of it. And then once we have the design exactly where we want it, I'm going to pop it in the lamp so those particles do not move. And then we are going to incorporate this color on one other nail. I think it's so beautiful, and I really like the coverage. We're getting one coat coverage here, and I totally like how it's performing with that one coat. Now you can definitely build it up if you want, but I'm really liking the color payoff that we're getting and the magnetic design that we're achieving with just one coat, which I'm actually shocked that we're getting one coat with this. Lately with my cat eye polishes that we've been trying here on my channel, we've been getting really good luck here with full coverage with only one coat, so that is definitely a plus. So I'm just creating a little bit of a random design. Now it's time to pull in a little bit of that blooming gel and trying out the white. So I'm going to put a little bit of white here on my nail art palette, and then I'm going to apply the marble ink to this. I'm just going to apply a very thin, even layer to the entire nail, and then I am not going to cure. So you do not want to cure this step. And then once we apply that, I am going to go in, and then we're just going to see how this blooms out, and we are going to just be trying it with the white only for this nail. Now, I don't have a design in particular for this, so I'm just going to start out creating a dotting design, kind of working down the side of the nail here. So I'm going to do bigger dots right here starting by the cuticle line, and then I'm going to make those dots smaller as we go down to the nail. And you kind of want to work a little bit fast with your design if you are doing more than one section of the dots for the blooming gel, because they are going to start blooming out. So you kind of want to work a little bit fast with your design if you are doing more intricate blooming gel design. So right here I was going to add some more dots, but I'm like, you know what, we'll just leave it like this because I do like how this looks, and now I'm just giving it a moment to breathe and bloom out. And whenever you're satisfied with that design, go ahead and pop that in the lamp, and then you are going to be good to go. And you can either do some nail art on top of that, or you could go ahead and just seal it in with your favorite top coat. So now I'm just playing with this again. I am trying a totally different design. This time I'm doing some of the dots in the middle, and then we're going to do dots on the side as well for a really fun design. Now what I'm noticing about this formula is that it is a little bit thicker, it's not thin, so you have a little bit more wiggle room when it comes to time for creating your design, which I do like that. Sometimes when you're playing with blooming gels, they're very watery, so you have to work really, really fast. This formula, you kind of have best of both worlds. It's at medium, a little bit on the thicker side of viscosity, but yet you can take your time. And then once you have that bloom exactly where you want it, pop that in the lamp. So now we're going to go ahead and create a little bit of like that tortoise nail design look on top of that jelly nail that we did. So I am going to go in with that marble ink. So circling back to that thumbnail where we did the dots with the white, I'm actually going to pull that from the set because once I saw everything come together, I was like, okay, we really need to use that champagne cat eye polish again So I ended up switching out that thumbnail, but at least you got to see how that blooming gel worked with the white polish. So now back to the tortoise nail. I'm just going in with the darker color in the collection, and I'm just kind of creating some squiggly kind of animal print designs, and I'm just placing them all over the nail. And then you can see, it's very hard to see, but it is blooming out. I feel like the nail stand that I'm using is a little bit darker, so you cannot see the full impact of this, but I am liking how it's coming out. I probably should have did a lighter base for this, and it probably would have worked and looked like 1,000 times better. So now that I'm letting that bloom out for a minute, I'm gonna go ahead and let that cure for 30 seconds. And now that that's cured, I am not going to do another layer of the marbling ink. I'm just going to go back into that dark color, and we're just going to go into some certain areas just to create a little bit kind of like a shadowing effect, and then make some of the areas just a little bit darker just to give it more of like that layered effect. But I am liking how easy this is to use. I will say that that marble ink is a game changer, and I do really like that one. Again, I think it's just because that viscosity alone. All right, so let's go ahead and cure this for a full 60 seconds, and now I'm going to go in with a more of like the reddish brown color, and we're just going to add a little bit more of like a slight pop of color to this just to give it a little bit more of like that layered effect. And then we are going to be good with this nail. I added just the tiniest amount, and then I did a final cure of 60 seconds. All right, so now it's time to get into that non-sticky gel to create or sculpt that little flower. As you know, I'm very excited about this. So I'm noticing right here, I'm liking what we're working with already. I'm already have high hopes for this, because normally when I get to this point right here, it is like sticking on my glove. It's a hot mess. I can't even roll it like you see like I'm doing right here. So I already have high hopes for this, because these products can be a hot mess. Also, if you are working with any gels in particular, especially something like this, you do not want to touch it with your hand. Just make sure you're taking the proper precaution to protect yourself when you are using this. That's why I always like to use gloves, especially when I'm making press-ons. All right, so now I'm just going to roll this into little balls, and you can see that the gel is not sticking to my hand. So normally when I'm doing this step, it's sticking to my hand. I have to like go through several different pairs of gloves. I'm probably just not doing it right, or sometimes if your hands are too hot, it can start really messing with the non-sticky product as well. It's going to become more sticky with the heat of your body. So just also keep that in mind. So right now I am just starting with 4 balls. I just felt like that was the easiest for me, because to be honest with you, I tried doing a 6 petal flower, and it was not working for me. So we're just going to keep it easy, baby steps as we dip our toes into the sculpting world, and we're just going to create a 4-petal flower, and that's totally okay. So I do like how this is working so far. I'm just going to go ahead and just clean that up a little bit, and then I flash cured it right away, and it was surprisingly way easier to do the 4-leaf flower. So if you're struggling with creating that flower design, start with a 4, and then I'm just going to see and just keep practicing until I can build myself up to that 6-petal flower. So stay tuned. Maybe we'll get there in my nail journey. So I am just going to add a little bit more dimension and some color to this. So I did go in with the jelly polishes, but I wasn't getting enough color payoff with that. So I'm going in with a little bit of the white, and then going in with the jellies, and that is definitely giving me more dimension. So, and then I'm going to just go ahead and then flash cure this just a little bit. And then to add a little bit more to it, I'm going in with that champagne cat eye polish. And then this is what really sealed in the deal for me for this flower, because it gave it a little bit of like an effortless chrome effect. And I totally was living for this moment right here, because I was really excited about this flower, and I just been really liking how just like simple this is looking, but yet still giving us that perfect kind of like autumn kind of vibe. You're going to see here at the final result what I'm talking about. But now that I have the perfect kind of chrome sheen over this flower, we're going to go ahead and flash cure this. And then what we need is just a little bit more touch to this flower. So I'm going to apply a layer of that gel top coat over the nail, and then I'm going to pick up some little bit of the gold caviar beads, and we're just going to place a little bit right in the middle just to add a little bit more pop to this nail. But overall, I really like how this is turning out. So I'm going to give this a final cure. And then once I cure that for 60 seconds, I am going to do a final layer of gel top coat to all the nails here just to seal everything in. But overall, I'm actually really excited on how well these products from Born Pretty worked. I will say my top favorites were that marbling ink. I feel like all the gel polishes themselves performed really well, but I will say that non-sticky gel was absolutely fantastic. They have more colors. I'm gonna have to grab more of those because that was a really easy gel for me to work with when it came to the non-sticky. So here's the thumbnail. I ended up swapping out. So we took away the blooming gel nail and I just did the champagne color, one coat without the magnet. And then here's our final look. I just felt like that champagne thumbnail just tied everything together perfectly. Here's what it looks like with the flash, but overall, I'm completely in love with how this turned out. All right, so everything that we use in today's video can be found in that description box below. If you have a favorite Born Pretty product that you just gravitate towards and is your go-to product, definitely let me know in that comment section below. I would love to check it out, and I'll see you all in the next one.